I've been talking a lot about simple lately, and I think simple is a super important topic because our brains are hardwired to conserve energy, right? Our brains work hard to keep us alive and safe, and there's so much going on around us that, our survival depends on our brains staying energy efficient. It's always looking for the shortest distance between point A and point B. And we don't learn from complicated, we learn from simple. Simple, fun, quick bites. So I want to combine the idea of simple with the idea of habits. Because repeating things in order to make them a habit, that serves the brain's need to conserve energy so that it can concentrate on other things, right? Think about driving. You've probably done it so long that the habitual act of, steering and accelerating and braking, you can focus on the people around you and you can run the inside temperature and the music, and hopefully you're not texting. You're not like, okay, I need to turn the steering wheel 45 degrees for 4.7 seconds so I can get into that lane, right? You're way beyond that. Now, the other benefit of making things a habit is that the act of regularly doing something over and over and over just builds the skill, right? Studies have put groups of so-called talented people against groups of people that they had doing something daily over and over and over and over. And what they saw was that the people that were habitually doing the same activity regularly were outperforming the so-called talented individuals, right? Think of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise just keeps going, one tiny step at a time. So I'm going to give you something simple to do that I believe will surprise you at how it will make you a better improviser in a shorter amount of time, right? It's going to make it easier to kind of find the right notes, the notes that are kind of living inside your head. And it's something simple that's meant to dissolve the friction or that filter between your musical mind and your instrument. I talk a lot about the central challenge of eliminating the instrument, right? So that your trombone, your trumpet, your piano, whatever you play is just kind of like an extension or an amplifier of your musical mind, and you don't have to think about its operation. So, this way your instrument's not getting in the way of your musical flow as you spontaneously compose melodies. Now, the exercise I'm going to give you, you can do this with or without a backing track, but I'm going to show you this over a sustained B-flat 7 harmony. The idea is to first sing a phrase, a very simple phrase, and then you're going to play the phrase. So let me demonstrate how that's going to work. And you can start out, I want you to start out very simple. And if it just means one note and maybe putting a little rhythm behind the note, that's very cool. So the first thing you're going to do is sing. So I'm going to think about do 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 do, and then I'm going to play that. Now you can do another and maybe build a little bit if that was easy. Do 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 do. And then you can build on the intervals and maybe the number of notes and the length of the phrase, Now, I've also included a B-flat blues track down below that you can do this with. But the difference is that after singing the phrase, you're singing it over one chord change, and what sounded right over the previous two bar changes may or may not sound right over the next two. But, try it and see what it's like. It also builds another skill of kind of anticipating what the changes are in two bars. A little bit of advanced thinking, but you may have more fun with the blues. I think if you're just starting out, do the B-flat 7 because it's static throughout the whole thing, obviously. Now, when I talk about building the difficulty, here's an important rule for how difficult your phrases should be so that you're not starting out with something and you can't find what you just sang. The idea is to just play something and do this with something that's maybe 5 or 10% harder than something easy. And by the way, that's a good rule of thumb for anything you play. Don't start with something that overwhelms you because you're going to get frustrated, and that's when people quit and say, I can't play. So start with something a little bit harder so that maybe you don't find those notes immediately, but eventually you do, like within the next try. The idea is for you to get a win. And that's going to reinforce your confidence and your enjoyment and your fun, and that's going to build your skill. Because your brain builds connections faster and longer lasting when it's having fun, right? And by the way, there's no grade here. There's no grade for difficulty. It's entirely up to your skill level. And your learning will be about being honest about where your skill level is, and again, going a little bit above that and working from there so that you keep getting those steady wins. And if that's just one note at a time, so be it. So that's the simplicity part of this. Now let's talk about the habit part. I want you to do this for just 3 minutes a day for the next 30 days, just to build the habit. Now I've got a sheet down below. It's a PDF. Print out the sheet that I've linked to. It's called the 30-Day Win Sheet. All right? And I think just the physical habit of you crossing out each day is going to help you build this into a habit. Commit to doing this for 30 days. Now the hardest day, you know when that's going to be? Tomorrow. Because today, right now, this is a shiny new toy. It's interesting, it's new, it's fun. But when tomorrow comes, are you going to have the same level of enthusiasm to get your horn out, put the track on, sing, and play? Because the magic of this happens when you've done this for 30 days. Now, let me throw at you another benefit to doing this. I recently did a podcast with Brent Varstra, LearnJazzStandards.com. And we talked about warming up for musical excellence. And we didn't just talk about warming up the physical instrument, because I was actually more interested in talking about warming up and preparing your mind for improvisation. And this exercise is perfect for warming up your mind and the connection with your instrument. Because I can tell you that I've been doing this to kind of prepare and see what this is like. And I'm doing this little exercise at the start of my practice routine. My horn has an easier time finding the right notes, and it's finding some notes outside of where muscle memory might normally take me. This is working for me. And I find that I'm tuning my ear and strengthening the connection with my trombone by doing this on a regular basis. And that's what I want for you. And here's my personal payoff for you. Record yourself playing a chorus of the B-flat blues that I've linked to below. And do it before you start this exercise, just to give you a baseline of where you're recording the blues, where you're playing the blues. And just record it on your phone, nothing fancy, right? Just make sure you can hear the backing track and your trombone or your trumpet or whatever instrument you're playing. Then after that 30th day, record yourself playing another chorus of the B-flat blues. And listen for the difference. Now, it might be a subtle difference because learning to improvise is a lifelong process. But I believe that if you do this for 30 days, just 3 minutes a day, the second chorus of blues is going to be different. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be different, but I think it will be. And I think it's going to be interesting for you to find out. And if you do this, if you send me the before and the after so I can hear it, I'll give you a half-hour free Skype lesson just for doing that on any topic you want. We can talk about this or alto trombone or whatever you want. But I really am trying to push you to make this a habit for 30 days and see what you can do to improve your improvisation, because I think you're going to be surprised at what it does for you. So download the tracks, download the checkbox, check off, and let me know in 30 days how this works for you, and I'll see you on the next video.